Hey everyone, welcome back to another Arduino project where today we will be controlling a motor. I'm going to start it off by just showing you guys what we will be doing. Primarily we'll be utilizing a switch, and that will be turning on and off a motor that controls a fan. So aside from that, let's get right into the components that we'll need for this project. So other than the Arduino Uno itself and a breadboard to make it much easier to connect everything, we're going to need a 10 kilo ohm resistor, a diode, which is part number 1N4007, a motor, a battery with a battery snap, a switch, as well as a MOSFET. So let's get into this video. Alright, now that we went through the components that we'll need for this project, I'm going to go show you guys a circuit diagram on how to properly wire everything and kind of take you through the entire process. So first we're going to connect the power and ground to your breadboard through the Arduino Uno, and we're going to add a momentary switch to the breadboard, connecting one side to the power and the other side to the digital pin 2 on the Arduino, and we're going to add a 10 kilo ohm pull down resistor to ground on the output pin of the switch. For my assembly, I actually had to use two 5 kilo ohm resistors, and I just add them in series, but that is kind of the same as a 10 kilo ohm resistor. When using circuits with different voltages, you have to connect their grounds together to provide a common ground. We're going to plug the 9-volt battery snap into your breadboard, connect ground from the battery to ground to the Arduino on the breadboard with a jumper, and then we're going to attach the motor's free lead to the 9-volt power. We're going to place the transistor on the board. We're going to look at the components that the metal tab is facing away from you, and we're going to connect the digital pin 9 to the left pin of the transistor. This pin is called the gate. A change in voltage on the gate makes a connection between the other two pins, and we're going to connect one end of the motor to the middle pin of the transistor. This pin is called the drain. When the Arduino activates the transistor by supplying voltage to the gate, this pin will be connected to the third pin, which is called the source, and we're going to connect that source to ground. And then next we're going to connect the Arduino's or the motor's voltage supply to the motor and breadboard. The last component to be added is the diode. The diode is a polarized component, and it can go only one way in the circuit. And we're going to notice that the diode has a strip on one end. That end is the negative end, or a cathode of the diode. The other end is the positive end, or anode. And we're going to connect the anode of the diode to the ground of the motor, and the cathode of the diode to the power of the motor. The diode will help prevent any back voltage generated by the motor from going back into your circuit, and we're going to remember back voltage will flow in the opposite direction of the voltage that you supply. So now that we kind of ran through the assembly, I'm going to show you guys a quick little run through of me assembling it, kind of like how you see in the Lego video games where it's a quick animation. And then we're going to go right into the Arduino code in order to have everything function as intended. Okay, so the code is pretty simple. So we're going to start by initializing some variables. We're going to have a constant integer for the switch, which will be at pin 2, as well as a constant integer for the motor, which will be at pin 9. And then we're also going to provide an integer, and it will read the state of the switch, and we're going to initially have that set to 0. So for the void setup portion, we're going to have two parameters for the pin modes. One with the pin status, and that'll be an output, and then the status of the switch, and that'll be an input. For the loop, it's pretty straightforward, and we're going to check the state of the switch pin with the digital read function, and if the switch is pressed, we're going to turn the motor pin on high. If it is not pressed, we're going to have it low. When high, the transistor will activate, completing the motor circuit, and when low, the motor will not spin. So it's fairly simple, but kind of breaks down the steps on how to have this circuit function as intended. So lastly, I'm just going to show you guys a final result on what you guys should be expecting for this motor control project. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to like and subscribe for more content to help out my channel. I hope to see you guys in another video soon, and see ya!